as long as I've been in my career, you know, I could probably count every single film or television show that I've been in sexy attire. I'm in sexy attire at home quite a bit too, so that stat lives up personally and professionally, I suppose.
What was that joke that Amy Poehler made?
Oh, that was the most fantastic.
That's amazing.
When Matthew McConaughey won the Oscar for Dallas Buyers Club, she said, and Amy Poehler and Tina Fey were up there, and they were saying, "This is so amazing what this guy has done for this role. He lost 33 pounds, or as women call it, making a movie."
Hello.
Yeah.
Sometimes I wake up in the morning and I'm like, wow, I am not feeling camera ready. And then I'm jealous because I look at my male co-stars who are handsome and, you know, good looking. And we're all attractive people. And yet that's like embraced, you know, that idea of like, okay,
rough
they
around
look
like they've
edges.
lived. Yeah.
It's like, I want to be rough around. In fact, I actually am very rough around the edges. You know what I mean? Anybody who knows me will say I'm the roughest gal around the edges. And yet I sort of feel like I have this pressure to sort of depict a woman that's been well rested.
It's a very complex issue because I also have heard the argument, which I understand, though I don't necessarily agree with all the time, but like when it is a fantasy that you're watching many a time when you're not watching something that's meant to be very, very real and voyeuristic, and you want to see the prince and princess that you want to be. You want to see this level of perfection. It's just, what kind of ideas are you promoting when we're all standing by complacent with that? And I think that, harkening back to the personal responsibility, I think so much of this comes, it's just your own brain. You just have to make the decision in your own brain because, first of all, if you compare yourself to everyone in the room, you'll give yourself a comparison hangover and your brain will explode. So choose right now.
Or your heart will die.
Yeah. But choose right now to not do that anymore. At the end of the day, when I put my head on my pillow, I go, oh, wait a minute. The pressure isn't going to stop. I have to stop the pressure. So it's only up to you to go like, hey, guess what, guys? I have bags under my eyes. What scene are we shooting? Do you know what I mean? Like, you have to be the one to choose, I think, to make it not matter to you. And the more people that do that, the more confidence exudes, and nobody notices your bags because they just see your lovely shine.
And you look at somebody like Alicia Keys, who's decided not to wear makeup, and the way
People have gone crazy.
People have gone crazy after
In a
her.
good way or a bad way?
In a bad way. Well, I'm sure in a good way too.
Oh, but it's fascinating.
But
and
she
it's
was
such
great.
And it's such a
Why
subject.
in a bad way?
I don't know, but people are like, I'm mean. And how do you feel about not wearing makeup? It's like, oh my God.
Oh, you can't win.
No, it's amazing.
But then it's up to her to not dig
no, she's doing great.
She's doing a great
I
job
feel
with
great
it.
about it. Next question.
But you know, I also think there is an expectation. There is often a conversation. I mean, I have had the amount of conversations about the placement of my breasts. It's just unbelievable. It is unbelievable. People really have issue with where my girls are. They call them girls. The stylist wants a different bra. I went to an audition once, and literally the casting director had her assistant take off her bra. And I was like, that's not my size. And she was like, it's better that it's smaller because they'll like, you know. And I was like, oh my God. But I think there is like a dominant discourse around that for women.
Yeah.
I will say that personally, it's been wonderful and exciting today looking at your face and looking at your face and looking at your face. The beauty that you are in person when you are not, you know, like the red carpet version. I look at people's faces, at women's faces, the way, you know, when you blush, it's so beautiful when you see that through someone's face. And we do all this covering.
Yeah.
You know, this like, it's a concealer culture as opposed to this other thing that is so gorgeous to me. I look at like when I get self-conscious about my own beauty or my own physical appearance or whatever those things are, and I take a second to go back and think about the women that I go, oh, that's a beautiful
she's
woman.
amazing,
and it's always a woman that is like not my age and older than me. People are erasing the stories from their face, the legacy that they come from culturally, the stories that they've lived. Like, it's like you can go insane being focused on all this stuff, and you really do spend a lot of your day doing it. Like if you start doing too much of that, like there's so many other things to think about, like a lot. Although I really do like looking good.
Well, an interest in fashion or beauty does not need to diminish one's intellect at all.
You can have both.
Yeah, but it's the talking about all these issues that fixes them. Like, newsflash, everyone, talking about it fixes it.
Talking about it fixes it, but also people breaking through.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean? That is one thing that television, particularly when you have people who are like, comedians that are they're so much about themselves, and they're bringing their own story, and so unlike the rest of us, they didn't have to make their way up through the casting ranks.
But you can
beauty.
sense what someone is concerned about. You
Oh,
can
yeah.
smell
Yeah,
it on
that's
them
true.
from a mile away. That's where
Funny.
it comes from within, and the confidence you have, and it's like, oh, wait a minute, my perspective is really the only perspective that matters.
And I might not be like
went right
red
back to
carpet
gays.
equipped, but like I'm sexy and I know it.
Yeah, exactly.
When I
Yeah.
was, my mom said to me, you can spend money on your clothes, but know that if you spend a lot of money on something, it's going to be something that you're going to wear a lot.
Right.
So
Yes.
you grow up and you become an actor, and then they're like, you can wear it once, and you're like, wait, I don't understand. Right. I'm like,
Why do you want to perpetuate that myth?
Yeah.
But it's not, it says it's not fair.
It just makes everybody else feel less than,
Right.
because they can't.
This is net-a-porter. They don't want us wearing the same things twice, you guys.
Listen, when I can't sleep, I'm
by
at
the
a
way-
portrait, and that's all I do. My account, go look at my
They're
money
like,
spent.
No, ladies, only wear it once.
I mean, everybody likes to, look at fashion a little bit. And there's a certain part of television, like a part of the movies, that's wish fulfillment of a fantasy world where everybody's beautiful and everybody looks great all the time. But I do think that American people and people all over the world, hunger for people they recognize as real people, and not just women. I think whenever you see an actor that's more like a regular person, if they have talent, I mean, people respond right away to that person.
Shame is a really big part of what takes the lead in this conversation in our culture that makes it hard to navigate through. I think there's so much shaming going on of there is a right way to look or a right way to be, that as an individual in your journey around choice, it's often hard to navigate through and remove the shame from the conversation and then ask yourself that question, like, am I comfortable with what I look like or what I feel like? And I think sometimes that does take a community of people to help you with, because that's where it starts.
Everyone needs a support in their life, but it is a choice. It is a choice to say, am I going to let this affect me? It is. Like, you can, otherwise you create a victim's narrative, and like, I always feel so much pressure, and this is pressure on me, and then you're creating your own narrative.
I think that's true, but I also think sometimes it's easy to say that from the vantage point of I'm on the side of what people want to look like. Do you know what I mean? And I'm on the side of what people say is the ideal. So I'm not struggling through the pain of what it feels like to absolutely, no matter how much I diet or whatever, get to that place that people say is what we want to be, and whatever that may be. Or as a woman of color, I mean, for goodness sake, around my hair, the conversations around my hair, let alone the placement of my breasts, or, I have an ass, and I mean, that's embraced now, but 10 years ago it wasn't, you know what I mean? And I couldn't make it go away. I realized I tried to get really, really skinny, and no matter how skinny I got, the proportion of my ass to the rest of my body stayed the same. And I finally figured it out. I was like, oh, it's not going anywhere. It's just gonna be there.
But no matter what you look like, if you are representative of confidence, and you are saying it doesn't matter, because I gained 50 pounds for each of my pregnancies. So I was almost 50 pounds, between 30 and 50 pounds heavier for the last 4 years. And granted, I have always been thin, and so I haven't struggled a ton with that, and I fully acknowledge that. But I walked into all that extra weight going like, who cares? And I was able to take that confidence and walk around much bigger than I had ever been, and still feel great about it, and actually not be concerned about it. And I feel like the more that can be an example to other people, and so it takes someone like, oh, well, yeah, she is 40 pounds bigger than the last time I saw her, but I didn't even notice. That's the goal.
And I think it's great, the women who've decided to push back on the red carpet about being endlessly asked about every minutia of what they're wearing. And I was on a red carpet 2 weeks ago, and they said, that's a lovely dress, that's a lovely dress, who are you wearing? And of course I couldn't remember the name of the designer, so I said, That's a very good question. And the interviewer immediately freaked out because he thought,
Oh, has he offended
he's
you?
offended me, but I just really couldn't remember the designer. But,
I mean,
but it was nice that he had that consciousness, like maybe I don't
Is
really
this
wanna...
an inappropriate question and I didn't
Yeah,
even
maybe I'm
realize
not
it?
here to talk. Maybe I'm here to talk about the thing I'm here to promote that I worked really hard on, as opposed to some nice dress that they lent me for 4 hours.
It can't be the first question, but at the same time, we have to admit our culpability. We
borrow the stuff
those beautiful
and
dresses,
yeah.
but it cannot be the first question. It can be a part of our story in that, yeah, I really like beautiful clothing. I like, you know, how creative you can get.
It's a big day for me, and I want to look great.
Yeah, but
Out of reverence for the moment.
I think like one of the oddest questions that I got quite recently, probably within the last 6 months, was not about what I was wearing, but what I was sort of wearing, my undergarments.
Oh,
and
wow.
they said, are you wearing Spanx or are you commando right now? And I was
Wow.
like, wait a
Commando?
We've gotten
commando.
really
And I wouldn't
inappropriate.
ask the next person that, you know, like that's just inappropriate.
But I will say this, just to play devil's advocate, we do dress up. We are all culpable in this whole charade.
Yeah.
And I mean, coming from a very prudish upbringing and having landed on the other side of the earth with almost everything I believe in now, for the Emmys, I wore this beautiful dress, and you couldn't wear a bra. And I took Lucoflex tape, and I taped my nipple to my shoulder. I just went, right?
You created a bra.
It was beautiful. The
Wow.
image was beautiful.
Lucoflex?
Lucoflex, it's very good. It's like post-surgical tape. And then I thought, you know what? I really believe in authentic honesty. I'm gonna put this on social media. And I posted a picture and I circled my nipple and I said, this is now up here. Thank you, Lucoflex. And I got so many questions about it, which to be honest, I was very happy to answer
Right.
because I feel like any woman who wants to wear a dress like that or a shirt like that
Should have
would
full
want to know the
disclosure.
tricks.
Yeah,
Yeah.
Kim
Right.
Kardashian there's a picture out of her taped boobies.
Yeah,
too.
I'm not pretending that my boobs are up to here. I know that they're not. I've had 2 children. It's sort of sharing the wealth. Like we're all interested in
Exactly.
Again, but then the other side of the coin, am I perpetuating this image of where my boobs should be? Like there's 1,000
No.
ways to argue it, but what I chose to do at the time was to be very honest and open about it, and it's caused quite a bit of like giggly conversations. And
I
after
just want to
interviews
know
saying,
if it
"Here's how I did
hurt
it."
when you ripped that tape
No, not
off.
at all.
Yeah,
Full
okay.
surgical tape doesn't hurt.
Okay, great. Okay. Thank you, answered my question.